Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. My daughter is joining me today on my live. It is kind of early, we just got up and I still got a lot of stuff to do, just like my other video where I said I have a lot of stuff to do. So with that being said, I'm on day 26. Can't believe it. I'm set 4 days left. I can't believe it how far I've came. I've came very, very far, and I'm so excited that I was able to get this done, get this live done, and I actually feel very accomplished. My voice seems a little raspy. Sorry guys, I can drink some water. I feel very accomplished for the fact that I was able to do my 30-day challenge, and I've been going live since day 18, and I've been consistent. I've been consistent in giving you guys content, and I've been happy that I'm able to do this. And on top of that, I'm a better mother, a better self, and I'm more energized. I just worked out in the morning, obviously, and I just feel so much better. I get my day going. I have other stuff to do, and I'm planning my day accordingly, and I'm like really happy that I did this. This was like the best thing I've done for myself, and I've been more focused on myself. I've been meditating, been focused on me, and like I said before, it's all a process. It's all a process. You have to be patient with yourself. Healing takes time. It can take years. But just understand, if you do it every day, you will get to your journey, to the end of your journey. All right, so I just want to tell you guys how I've been doing. And I want to talk to you about my goals. I want to help as many millennials as I can dealing with depression, parents with a child or children that's dealing with depression, as well as teachers or caregivers that works with teens that's struggling with their depression. And anybody that come to your mind as you watching this video, tell them about me. We're all in this together. We're all going to help one another. You don't have to go through this alone. All right? My daughter agrees too. She's talking. Okay, so we're going to get into today's discussion, and we're going to talk about what is depression. So I did some research, and I don't want to talk to you basically what I feel. I want to give you some hardcore facts. So this is from Healthline.com, and they said basically I looked up what depression is, and this is depression is profound sadness that lasts more than 2 weeks and affects your ability to function, may be a sign of depression. They also go through symptoms. So one of these symptoms are called deep feelings of sadness. Deep feelings of sadness. Dark moods, feelings of worthlessness or helplessness, appetite changes, lack of energy, inability to concentrate, difficulty getting through your normal activities, lack of interest in things you used to enjoy, like walking or going out with friends or being in a relationship sometimes, or even marriage, like stuff like that. Withdrawing from friends, like my next one, and preoccupation with death or thoughts of self-harm. That's more to extreme, but it does happen. I'm going to tell you this much. I did think about self-harm at one point in time, especially in, I would say more in the beginning of my videos. I made some videos and I felt like I was really depressed, and thoughts like that does come up, and it's okay to understand that, yes, this does happen, but don't stay at those, don't let them thoughts trigger or just manifest in your brain. We don't want that. We don't want them thoughts to manifest. We want them thoughts to be positive. So those are just some symptoms. There's some people might have more that's not on the list, and that's fine. But I would advise you to talk to your doctor if you are feeling this. Do not self-diagnose. Always talk to your doctor. Be honest. Let them know you're feeling this and what can be next. They can give you the next future steps. Don't rely on Google or any other apps. I'm just letting you know. Talk to your doctor. All right. So depression affects everyone differently. You might have one of these symptoms like I mentioned before, or you might have others that I did not mention. Keep in mind that it is normal to have some of these symptoms, from time to time without having depression. So you can have deep feelings of sadness one day, and then maybe 2 weeks again, or 2 weeks later it comes back again. So it's not going to be every day. Everybody experiences it differently. So for me, I'll experience more sadness multiple times. So it'll be day 1, 2, 3, and then I'll be getting into a good mood, and then it'll come again. So for me, that's how it is for me. And then dark moods, that might come time to time. Or say, for instance, something unfortunate happens, or you get into a bad mood, and that gets you into a dark mood. So that doesn't always happen. I mean, sometimes it can. And even appetite changes. I think that's more of a normal for some people, changing appetite. But if you're not eating compared to when you're eating, that's a drastic change. That's where you need to, okay, I'm not eating at all. Like some people do not eat at all throughout the day compared to eating normal. That's the change that I would say that's maybe a sign of depression. Maybe. I'm not going to diagnose anybody because I'm not a physician. But if they start to impact your day, that's when it might be a sign of depression. Like I said, talk to your doctor about what's going on with you. Okay, so I did some research about different types of depression. So number 1, we're going to get into the nitty gritty. I hope you bring your listeners' ears. There's 9 different types. I'm going to break this down into two videos because it's a lot of information. So number 1 is going to be major depression, which is also called major depressive disorder, or classic depression, or unipolar depression. 16.2 million. I'm going to say this again. 16.2 million adults in the U.S. are experienced with depression or depressive episodes. Hey, the Savvy Mom, thanks for coming. I'm just letting you know that I know you're just joining. I'm going over the different types of depression. There's many different types. And I was just talking about the major depression, also known major depressive disorder, classic depression, or unipolar, which basically 16 million people have experienced some type of form of this type of depression. So that's a lot of people. When you really think about that, we're all in this together. Somebody that you know or you're going through is or experienced with depression. Oh, sorry guys, 1 second. What's wrong? You getting sleepy? Yes, my daughter has joined us for this live, and now she's getting a little sleepy. But we're going to continue because nothing's going to stop me today. So people who suffer from major depression experience symptoms most of the day or throughout their day. Like many health conditions, it has little to do with what's going on with their life. So what they mean about that is just so, say for instance, somebody's job. They may not like their job, but that may not be the reason why they're depressed. It's other stuff that's going on. So some people think, oh, you're depressed because what's going on with your life? It's really not that. It's something way much more deeper. Like for me, I've been dealing with this for a very long time, but I didn't realize I was depressed until the pandemic happened, and I realized, whoa, something's up with me. I'm so used to moving. I went to school, college, worked 2 jobs. Like I'm always working. And now that I'm home, it's like, okay, now the silence is getting louder and louder and louder. And I'm hearing and I'm noticing stuff about myself, and I'm like, oh, this is different. I didn't realize that. It's okay. 1 second. Try to see if I can put her to bed in this chair. So it's a severe form of depression. So major depression is a severe form of depression. And some symptoms are, there's a couple symptoms. It's okay. Some symptoms are gloom or grief, Difficulty sleeping or sleeping too much. I noticed that during the pandemic, I know a lot of people, they probably was sleeping a lot, mainly because they had nothing else to do. So even when you sleep a lot, that's not normal. You shouldn't be sleeping no more than 8 hours a day. That's what they recommend. But when you don't have nowhere to go, sometimes you will sleep longer than that. But when you sleep longer, for a longer time, more than usual, those are symptoms of depression. Loss of appetite or overeating. So when you're not eating compared to eating too much, that's not normal either. So when you're not eating at all, something's going on. Or when you feel like you have to eat because something else is going on too. So that's another symptom. Unexplained aches and pains. So everybody have aches and pains. You could be working out or whatever. But when you have pains, when you have pains that you can't describe or figure out what, that could be the reason why. As well as lack of concentration and memory problems and inability to make decisions. Feeling of worthless or helplessness, constant worry or anxiety. I feel like that was me. I was always paranoid. And that could be just the way how I grew up. My mom was just always particular about stuff. Make sure you do this. You gotta be careful. You gotta do this. So I probably grew up being a little paranoid, but that I didn't realize that's also a symptom too for depression. Thoughts of death and self-harm and suicide. That's always on the extremists. So when you are feeling deep down, of course those things are going to happen. But like I said before, be positive. You can get out. And those days are not going to be forever. Just always understand that. Those days are not going to be forever. Okay. So these symptoms can last for a week or even months at a time. It really depends on the type of person, what they're going through, and their situations. And all that adds up. Like I said before, like depression has nothing to do with your life, but it also adds on to depression. Depending on the situation, what's going on, that adds all to it, so how long it will last. So number 2, persistent depression, also known as chronic depression, is depression that lasts for 2 years or more. So this type of depression might not feel as intense or as major as depression, but still can strain on relationships and makes tasks difficult. I will personally have to say my depression did put strain on my relationship. I appreciate my boyfriend for being so patient with me as I go through a lot of stuff. So for some people in their relationship, they're not as understanding, or depending on how their marriage is, it can be really tough, especially if you have multiple kids. So when you have all that, mommy's not being right, so that's putting everything on daddy, or vice versa. That can put a lot of strain on their relationship, and even kids too. It affects the whole family. And some symptoms are deep sadness or hopelessness, low self-esteem or feeling inadequacy, lack of interest in things you once enjoyed, appetite changes to sleep patterns or low energy, concentration or memory problems, difficulty function at school or work, inability to feel joy or even at happy occasions. Sometimes that can happen, especially like when the holidays happen and everything. And you're surrounded by so many family, but deep down you're still like, I'm not happy. That's a sign of depression. It really is. And I know some people are going through that. They hide it. They like smile like, but they're really not happy inside. That can be another sign. So if you know someone that's going through it, at least try to reach out, try to figure out what's going on, help them, do whatever you can do. Inability to feel joy, okay, and even at happy occasions, yes. And even social withdrawal. So especially if you're like a social person, very energetic, hang out with your friends all the time, then you withdraw. It's like, what happened? What happened to your friend? Your friend is going through something. And even like a simple phone call, check up on a person, figure out what's going on, see if they need help, something. Because when a person withdraws, it's something deep going down. Especially if you know that person and you know everything. If that's your best friend, you know everything about that person. All of a sudden, your best friend don't want to talk to you, don't pick up phone calls. Something's going on. And the person could have been dealing with this for a very long time too. So this is a long-term type of depression. Severity of symptoms can become less intense for months from time to time before it gets worsened again. So it can be, I guess a person could feel it in the beginning and then not, and then it gets really bad to where they withdraw. And you won't really know until the person really withdraws to where it gets the worst part, unless someone, opens up about it. But usually you will see the end part of it. So I like this great point. Some people might have episodes of major depression before or while they have persistent depression disorder. This is called double depression. Persistent depression lasts for years at a time, and people might start feel like their symptoms are just part of the norm. I feel like I can relate to a lot of this stuff, and most of this stuff, as in for symptoms, they're repetitive because those are all signs of depression. They're different categories, but they're still all signs of depression, especially not feeling happy. All of that stuff I'm going to be repetitive about, but that's because they're all signs of depression. So the third one is manic depression or bipolar depression, bipolar disorder. So this is manic depression consists of episodes of mania or hypomania. So feeling very happy or alternating between episodes of depression. So feeling happy but then sad. So that's where the bipolar disorder comes in. So manic depression is an older term, so they use bipolar disorder more. I know some people might see some commercials about that. So that's what I'm talking about. They say about the highs and the lows. So this is what the section I'm talking about. So in order to be diagnosed with bipolar 1, you have to experience episodes that last for 7 days or less, or 7 days or less if you're if you go into the hospital, can't get it out. If you go into the hospital and you should be advised to speak to your doctor if you prefer to go to a specialist or not. You may experience depressive episode before or the following of a manic episode. So some symptoms will be feeling of sadness and emptiness, lack of energy, fatigue. I get fatigue sometimes, but it's different when you're dealing with depression. Fatigue is like not wanting to do anything, but not even having the energy as well. Sleep problems, like not being able to sleep at night sometimes. If your brain goes, you can't sleep. Trouble concentrating. Decreased activity, not want to do anything, especially if you've been going active, walking, and then you just stop. Oh, she fell asleep. Loss of interest in enjoyable activities, and then on the end, like severe side, suicidal thoughts. So signs of manic phase include high energy, reduced sleep, irritability. I know some people who knows they're going, if you know someone who has a bipolar or going through the bipolar or diagnosed, I would say diagnosed with bipolar, irritability is number one. I know that a lot. Racing thoughts and speech. Increased self-esteem and confidence. Increased. Unusual, risky, and self-destructive behavior. I well, I believe, I forget where I heard this on, but somebody, her sister, was dealing with bipolar, and she beat her up in the parking lot. Hey, the girlfriend advisor, thank you for joining. So destructive behavior, when someone's dealing with bipolar or diagnosed with bipolar, destructive behavior is very, very hard. Hi, thank you for coming. Feeling elevated or high, that's also part of a symptom. Thank you for coming. So I'm just going over different types of depression. So right now I'm talking about manic depression or bipolar disorder. So now I'm going to my next one, depressive psychosis. So this can involve hallucinations or delusions. Some people with major depression also go through periods of losing touch of reality. So I don't know if anybody who knows is going through depressive psychosis, they're going through a lot. They're really going through a lot. When someone's hallucinating, they're going through a lot. An example will be hearing voices or seeing people who aren't there. Psychosis can cause physical symptoms like problems sitting still or slowed physical movements. So the fifth one, this is going to be my last one for today. I know I went over a lot of different types. I wanted to give you guys hardcore facts about different types of depression. When someone's depressed, they can be going through any of these types. So my last one is postpartum depression. So this occurs during pregnancy or within 4 weeks after birth. So hormonal changes in the brain that can lead to mood swings. So I believe I might have felt some type, but I don't know. It went and gone. But that's normal for some people. A lot of people who are gone through depression before will probably get postpartum depression. So for me, I've been depressed before. I probably did have a touch of postpartum. So a symptom will be lack of sleep. Well, no, this is not a symptom. This is lack of sleep and physical discomfort that often accompanies pregnancy. And it's when you don't have help with a newborn, this definitely heightens the chances of getting postpartum depression. You know, when a female, she go through birth, her brain is not right, her body is not right, she has gone through so much stuff. So when she has a newborn, newborns never sleep. When you don't have the support, you lose sleep, and then that whole thing just pushes back onto postpartum depression. You get sad, no energy. So symptoms, like I said, sad, anxiety, anger, rage, exhaustion because the newborn is always trying to get up. You gotta breastfeed or give the baby the bottle depending on how you're doing, and you just don't have time for self. Extreme worry about the baby's health and safety. Difficulty caring for yourself or the newborn. It's hard to do both. But when you have that support, like I had support with John. Thank God I did. When you have that support, it's easier for you to transition to motherhood. So thoughts of self-harm on the extreme end or harming the baby. So like I said before, women who lack support or have had depression before are increased risk of developing postpartum depression. But it can happen to anybody. Anybody can go through this. So I'm just going to do a little recap. We went over major depression, persistent depression, bipolar depression, depressive psychosis, and postpartum depression. So I just want to give you guys some hardcore facts. We have to continue in my next video, and I'm going to go and we're going to do a recap at the end of it. But I just want to give you guys some information about the different types of depression. When someone's going through depression, they can be going through any of these types. And these symptoms are very similar. So if you feel like you're going through depression, or you feel that the symptoms that I mentioned, talk to your doctor. Let them know what you're going through. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.